What's up guys, Perry from Rockville, and today I'm going to teach you how to set up your RPG122K PA system. These speakers are perfect for band rehearsals, live performances, houses of worship, conferences, parties, karaoke, and much more. So it comes with two speaker stands, the two speakers themselves, one active and one passive, a 19-foot 1/4-inch cable to connect the two speakers, a dynamic microphone with a built-in on and off switch with its own XLR cable, a power cable, a travel pouch, a mic clip, and a wireless control for the Bluetooth module. Let's start setting it up with the speaker stand. So these are your standard speaker stands here. There are two knobs here, one to adjust the vertical height, and the bottom one is to set the tripod legs. So if I loosen it, we'll be able to push down on the legs and spread them out. And once you find a comfortable height, you can turn it to the right to set it in place. Now the top knob will allow us to adjust the vertical height. And you'll notice there's multiple holes here so we can set it to different heights. I'm gonna choose this one right here, and once we have that set, we're gonna use this locking pin to set it in place. And I'm gonna turn the top knob here to really lock it in place. So putting the speaker on the stand is really easy. Each speaker is built with a 35mm socket so we can mount it onto the stand. So we just wanna line up the pole in the bottom socket. Then we're gonna tighten the locking knob here to keep it secure. So the speaker stand setup for the other one is exactly the same, so I'm gonna skip ahead a bit. So great, now we have both speakers set up. So now here is the active speaker, which is actually going to power our passive speaker here. In order to do that, we need to power up the active speaker. I'm gonna take the included power cable, I'm gonna take this end right here and plug it into the speaker. And the other end goes right into the wall. Now before I turn it on, I'm going to connect the two speakers by using the included 1/4-inch cable. So I'm just gonna take one end of the cable and connect it to the speaker out, and the other end goes into the speaker in on the passive speaker. So now we can turn the speaker on, but before we do that, I just wanna note that if you live in a country that uses 220, you can take the switch over here and flip it to the right before turning it on. Now I'm just gonna turn it on. So the active speaker is the mixer section of our whole PA system, but before we get into that, I just want to show you how to set up the included mic. So we're going to want to take the female end of our included XLR cable and insert it into the microphone. So before plugging the mic into either channel 1 or 2, we want to make sure the volumes are turned all the way down. We're going to take the male end of our XLR cable and put it into channel 1. So then we're gonna raise the level of the mic 1 here. Then we're gonna wanna raise the master volume as well. And then whenever we're ready to use the microphone, we just flip the switch on, and then you should be hearing me coming through the speakers. So the cool thing is I have two channels on the RPG122K so that we can use two mics at the same time, and we can use the XLR or the 1/4-inch input for whatever cables you have available. So over here on the right, we have our treble and our bass EQ. So the cool thing is we can actually change the tone of our voice using the 2-band EQ here. So if we want to make the sound a little bassier, we're going to turn the bass up. We can even turn the treble down. You get all bass there. Or we can do the opposite. We can raise the treble and lower the bass so it's nice and present. Or we can just leave it right in the middle for the best of both sounds. Now on top of the mic channels, the 2-band EQ is going to allow us to change the sound of the Bluetooth and the line-in channels. Let me show you how to use that Bluetooth channel by connecting my phone. So to get the Bluetooth module into Bluetooth pairing mode, we'll want to go over here to the mode button and click it once. Then you're going to want to go into the Bluetooth settings of your smartphone or tablet and find the device labeled Rockville. Click on it. Then you should see the LCD reads Bluetooth connected. Now before I play some music, it's important to note that everything coming into the Bluetooth module is controlled by this channel here. This channel also controls the line RCA inputs here. So the setting you want to use to make sure you hear the Bluetooth is over here where it says MP3 and line. This is going to ensure that everything through the MP3 module, like Bluetooth, SD cards, or USB memory sticks, are heard through the whole system. And if you did want to use the RCA line inputs, make sure that this button is pushed out for line mode. So I'm just gonna go back to MP3 mode. I have my phone connected, raise the volume on the channel, and just play music. Okay, that sounded great. Now when you're playing music through your Bluetooth, there are 3 levels of volume you have to consider for gain staging. The first is the volume on your phone, the second is the MP3 volume right here, and the last one is the master volume over here. A good rule of thumb is to keep every level at about 75% and then move up and down from there. Now the RPG122K has an LED clip indicator right here, so if any of the levels are coming in distorted or are clipping, you'll want to turn the volumes down so that the LED light isn't illuminated red. Another cool thing about playing music through the RPG122K is that you can use the 2-band EQ to fine-tune the sound around your preference. On top of that, there are preset EQs that you can use by pressing the EQ button here. Now, a popular setup that people use with our speakers all the time is a YouTube karaoke setup. Since you can connect your phone through Bluetooth on your tablet or a smartphone, you can just go to the YouTube app and look up a karaoke version of a song. And while that's playing through the speakers, you can use the microphone inputs to sing into and have a full karaoke setup. So the really cool thing about the RPG122K is that it's built with line outputs so we can expand our setup. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so now in front of me is the RPM1470, which is a powered mixer that is giving power to these passive speakers. So if I want to connect the RPG122K into the mixer for a bigger setup, I'm going to use the RCA line outputs here. Now in order to do that, I'm going to need RCA cables. So I'm just going to take one end of the RCA cables and connect it to the line out. And very important, I'm going to take the other end and put it into the RCA inputs of the mixer. So we can test this connection by playing music from my smartphone, which is still connected to the Bluetooth of the RPG122K. So right now you hear the music coming from the RPG122K, but if I bring up the faders here, you'll hear the music coming in from the mixer to these speakers. This is also going to work for your microphone inputs. As you can hear right now, I'm just coming out of the RPG122Ks, but if I raise the main volume of our mixer, you'll hear me coming out of all 4 speakers. So for this setup, I used a mixer, but you can also use the line outputs to connect to a subwoofer, another powered speaker, or anything else your setup requires. So hopefully this video showed you guys how easy it is to set up your RPG122K. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always guys, I'm Perry from Rockville, and I'll see you next time.